Ondieki, kindly tell us what makes the real estate sector in the United States very, very vibrant, and what are some of the lessons that as a country we can learn from the real estate industry in the United States?
Absolutely. First of all, thanks so much for having me this night, morning your time. Real estate really is the engine of the economy, any economy. But the industry has to be very structured to be able to do these things. For example, in this country, there are hundreds of thousands of, they're called real estate agents and real estate brokers. I know in Kenya, the term brokers, as simplistic as I said, is rather looked at a bit differently. But the amount of taxes that are paid from these people to the economy is massive. That's number one. So this is extremely structured. Number two, you know, in Kenya, sometimes we find ourselves in a problem where you purchase a property through a broker or an agent. In the morning, in the afternoon, you can't find him. In the evening, you are taken to court. You don't even have the paperwork. In the US, if an agent is involved in a transaction, they have to keep those documents for 5 years so that, you know, people can verify. Once the deal has been done, the transaction has been done, actually, if you are selling a property to me, we don't have to know one another. What happens is I find my agent who is registered in Kenya. They call it registered. In the US, it's licensed. Registered or licensed in this case. And US is registered and licensed. I can go check and confirm their ID number. And by the way, whenever they walk around, if they have a business card, for example, the business card has to have their ID, their license number. Now, my agent will talk to your agent. They start negotiating on our behalf. Once the negotiation has been done, then there's a second tier called an escrow service. This is a massive amount of economy. This is companies that actually do these transactions without caring about a seller or the buyer. All they care about is the agreement that has been drawn. Then there is what we call a title insurance. This is again something that is foreign to, in Kenya and many African countries. But the way it works is, if I'm buying a property from you, once we've agreed that you are selling that property to me, then of course we go to this independent company, and in some areas they use lawyers to do the title search, make sure that the property you're selling me is yours. Mm-hmm. If it is yours, they'll actually check and see if you had that title insured for your own property, so that if somebody robs it from you or tries to do some hanky-panky stuff with that property, now they can, they have it protected. When I purchase the property, then I also buy title insurance for it, which means if some other guy comes and tries to claim my property, the title insurance will fight for me. And if they lose, they will pay me the money I used to purchase that property. So that completely eliminates this fraud that we see around where, somebody goes and sells another guy's property and so on and so forth. So there are many, many lessons to be learned. And as Simplicia has mentioned before, at US Africa Opportunity Network, this is not something new we are doing. We've actually worked with the University of Gold Coast in Ghana. That is the latest one that we worked with, to establish a course there. What happens is the agents who are trained there come to the US annually to meet with not only their Ghanaian diaspora, but also interact with other agents for what they call National Association of Realtors events, which brings in thousands and thousands of people from across the country, and end up doing a lot of deals. So if you look at the amount of transactions that are done in Ghana from people in diaspora, US diaspora, compared, US and Canada in this case, compared to Kenya, you realize the trajectory is that in Kenya, the number has been going down. In Ghana, it's been going up. And I know in Kenya, people say, okay, we are seeing a lot of money from diaspora. Diaspora is very segmented in a way because of many different factors. So the money that we see in Kenya that comes from diaspora, majority of that comes from mainly the Middle East. But there's tons and tons and tons of money in the US and Canada and Australia in this case that can be invested back in the country by the Kenyans in diaspora, directly or indirectly. And I want at some point to talk more about indirectly. If you go to Israel, if you visited Israel, you realize that in the western part of Israel, they have a whole bunch of communities they call kibbutz. Most of those communities are built by money from Americans, Israelis in the diaspora in the US. If you look at a majority of the infrastructure in Israel, it's actually put together and built using funds that have been raised, so to speak, from the Israeli diaspora in the US. And this is something that has been going on for many years, and other countries have benefited the same way.
Yeah.